Thank. You. Welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is evil.
Classic.
All right, we're going to try that again.
It's the delay, so it's going to be a few. There we go.
There we go. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning on this. Let's stop sharing this. Okay, so welcome, revelers. This is Rob B. and
Brian G.
Chilling here in the heart of Texas at the RV Studios out here in, well, near Crockett, Texas. We're not disclosing our exact location because none of your damn business. But what we wanted to do today is kind of take a look at the election because there's a ton of rhetoric on either side making claims about what's going to happen in the election. And we kind of just got to watch like how things are going to like settle up. Okay. There was one video I wanted to share that I couldn't find. And this guy actually adjusted the polls.
Should say you couldn't find again.
Yeah. I couldn't find it again. The guy adjusted the results based on the polls, historical inaccuracies. So that like looked smashing for Trump because it was showing him like 360 electoral votes. It was insane. But we're gonna look at the Real Clear Politics no toss-up map right now. So what this is, Real Clear Politics, if you don't know, they do a conglomeration and averaging of all the polls out there because certain polls bias one way or another. I gave a good example I saw a good example the other day. They did the poll and it had 650 Democrats, 550 Republicans, and 450 independents.
So you.
Yeah, independents are only like 3% of the vote. Yeah, like 3%. Well, and then there's another 1% for all other parties. So that does not match what happens in elections. So it was definitely heavily weighted for Kamala Harris. And what did it show? Oh, yeah, Kamala Harris is up in the national averages. Not that the national averages matter. Okay. Our representative republic was set up that we don't have mob rule, that the more populous cities cannot rule over the less populous countryside. So it really doesn't matter. But it does matter. Like, basically, if Trump wins the popular vote, there's no way Kamala can hold on. Now that's not likely to happen. I think they'll be able to get their base in line around Kamala. Although we'll see what happens after the debate, because she did have great word salad. I'll try and pull it up here as we're like going forward.
She's the greatest speaker of all time.
Yeah. Well, I do remember when they said that the most articulate person in the White House was Joe Biden. So, you know, this is their party.
And in his defense, he used to speak a hell of a lot better. I mean, you look at some of the old videos of him speaking, and he actually sounded pretty good back in the Senate. I disagreed with everything he was saying, but he actually sounded like he knew what he was talking
well,
about.
I put up a funny clip on my gaming channel, like, so you guys can, if you want to see the funniest clip ever, it's a little bit older, but you can search for it in my history on the RTW4 Gaming on YouTube, or you can go back and look. There's a short on there where it was Joe Biden is the best communicator in the White House. Oh my God, it was beautiful and got thousands of views. It was awesome. Anyway, so that was a good video, but obviously the media is going to lie to us. They're in the bag for one party, and we all know it.
Would that be the Libertarians?
Yeah, no.
No. I had it wrong. Not Republicans either.
No. That was the Democrats because of the blue state media.
I got you. That makes sense.
Anyway, so what we're going to pull up here, we're going to pull up this electoral map here. And let's see. So this is no toss up. So basically what it's showing us is, if the election were held today, based on the current averages of the polls, who's going to win what state. Okay. And there's no surprise on most of this. California, yeah, we're not winning California because it's the bluest of the blue. And I'm pretty sure the illegals are voting there. Oregon, Washington, Illinois, New York,
Maine,
Jersey,
Rhode Island,
Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. This one actually shows New Hampshire for Harris, which I'm actually kind of surprised because New Hampshire's had a lot of polls showing race tightening there. So maybe
they don't think we can pull out New Mexico.
No, they're still showing. Well, we'll get into why that might be.
Yeah.
Anyway, so probably the biggest one for concern is Georgia. Georgia and Pennsylvania. So she'll probably flip Pennsylvania when she eventually announces that Shapiro is going to be her VP.
You think she's going to go with Shapiro?
I think she's going to go with Shapiro.
But he's Jewish, and their side of the party is so against Israel and Jews right now.
I think she's going to go with it.
It's just tough for her.
Okay, but even if they're against the Jews, they're not going to vote for Trump.
Yeah. No, I know.
So I think he gives the most bang with the least amount of damage of all of her potentials. The little drug-addled daughter of Mark Kelly kind of like sinks Arizona for her.
Well, they keep talking about the one girl from Michigan, Gretchen Wilson.
Right, Gretchen Whitmer. Okay, but she doesn't need Michigan. She doesn't need Michigan. They're already leading in Michigan. That's 15 electoral votes.
Yeah.
So I think it locks it down, and we can just assume that's always going to be Democrat, because now they passed a law in Michigan. Explain this. They passed a law in Michigan that if there's fraud and you allege fraud, they won't recount and check the ballots. They literally legalized cheating in an election.
Well, and I agree with a lot of what I've heard from other podcasters, Megan Kelly and all them, that the country's not ready to vote for an all-female ticket at the top. To have Kamala and Gretchen for VP and president, the country isn't ready for two women.
So anyway, that being said, the only state that she might lose off of that is Minnesota. But she might manage to flip Pennsylvania, maybe even Ohio or West Virginia.
You mean
it's
Islam
possible.
State of Minnesota?
Yeah. So if she gets Mark Kelly, that's only 11 electoral votes that are put in play. She's already got New Mexico. Utah ain't gonna go that way. Nevada, yeah, they're so fed up. And Donald Trump saying, "You get to keep your tips."
Yeah.
What are the two big?
Yeah.
What are the two big?
Casinos.
What are the two biggest industries in Nevada?
Casinos.
Yeah,
Prostitution.
gambling and sex work.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna be happy to keep their tips. You know, and by sex works I mean hookers, strippers, and porn.
Yeah.
Like they're all gonna
Have
want to
get
keep their
under the table.
exactly. So so I don't think they have a chance of flipping back Nevada, even if they pick the Arizona senator, no matter how popular he is. That and he's a little bit older, so it just kind of looks like old white dude again. Now that being said, Trump's still kind of an old white dude, but man, he's the most vigorous. He's the most vigorous old white dude I've ever seen. Like Jesus Christ, he's almost 80. Go fucking sit down somewhere, dude. Right?
They
So
keep talking about Biden and how we have a hard time keeping up with him. He's so fast. Well, Trump actually is that way.
okay, so here's what's concerning here. So obviously, if she picks Shapiro, there's a good chance that's a very popular governor in Pennsylvania because of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, you know, the liberal bastions, you know, the same Secret Service office that was in charge of the security for Donald Trump. So yeah.
What is Pennsylvania's biggest industry?
Well, now probably green energy because they shut down the steel energy and they shut down fracking.
Yeah, well, they're trying to shut down. Did they shut it down in Pennsylvania?
For the most part, it's so heavily restricted they can't get it going.
Kamala will shut down fracking.
Yeah, she plans to institute a national ban.
A lot with that.
So, but I mean, Shapiro's like hard left policies, and they still elected him governor.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, so I mean, that makes that's a big question mark to me. So if you subtract that, you're looking at 278 for Trump, and he needs 270 electoral votes. Yeah. Okay. Then Georgia becomes a really big worry. Now, if you look at it, the most recent poll shows Trump up too. That's within the margin of error.
What are you looking at?
This one's the most recent one from Trafalgar. So then you go to this one. Bloomberg has a tie. Tie goes to Harris, I think.
Yeah.
This one has Trump by 4, and this is the Bloomberg before that.
What's this one?
Bloomberg.
Is this all for the same state?
No, there's a bunch of different states in here.
They can't see what you're saying, so I'm saying.
Yeah, well, no, actually, they can see the arrow on the screen. Or I thought, well, they could. Now they can't. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm going. You're going down.
Hold on.
And just reading off.
All right, so let me get switched to the right tab here. So okay, so here we got the Trafalgar Insider. It's the most recent one. It came out yesterday. Trump by 2. You go back a little bit. It was a tie, so maybe Trump's gaining ground in Georgia. Tie here. This is the Bloomberg with Kennedy, West, and Stein. I don't know if Kennedy is going to be on the ballot. He's having problems getting on the ballot.
Oh yeah, Robert F. Kennedy, the Jr.
Yeah, because he screwed up his paperwork. I mean, that's what happened. I mean, that's part of the problem. Like they do make it really hard for third party and independent candidates to get it.
Yeah.
Libertarians and Green Party always have a candidate in the elections because they're just set that way.
Yeah.
So and then let's see here. So yeah, those this month, those are the Georgia polls that were released.
Well, and one thing I'd like to point out is Kamala is definitely in her honeymoon phase. Every politician, when he jumps in, is pretty popular right at the beginning until you really get into the nitty gritty and start getting hit pieces back out there, showing them what they support and what they don't support.
But I don't know that we're ever going to escape that though with Harris.
I don't know. She has so much that she said and so much she's done.
But we're not going to see it. When are we going to see it?
Well,
the media is going to start reporting it? No, Fox News is reporting it. Anybody else going to report it?
Well, you have but everybody isn't into NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN.
Right. So anymore. Who else is going to put it out?
A lot of it is on podcasts. A lot of it's on.
The question is, who else is saying it? Most of the media all across the globe. Right. And YouTube is censoring anything that hits Kamala. Google is blocking anything that hits Kamala. Anything that talks negative about Kamala is being edited. You go and you cite the sources for all of Kamala Harris's policies, and the original sites that reported on her policies are deleting the original articles. So you cannot find the information.
I'm not saying it'll be easy, but there is some of it's getting out there. It is a struggle, but
In 2020, they elected a corpse by hiding him. You think they can't do it again?
which she's trying to do the same thing. She hasn't done one. She hasn't done one interview yet. Everything she's done has been a few rallies.
Okay, so my point is, the people who are watching the conservative media sources that are telling the truth about Kamala Harris, they're already there.
Yeah.
Like they're already watching it. They're already voting Trump.
Yeah.
That's not going to help with the election. That's my point. That
Sadly,
information.
We just have to wait a month or two. It's, when we get closer. Of course, the problem is that in a lot of these left wing states, they're going to start voting in another week or two with mail in ballots.
Yeah. Kamala.
That's the problem with this early crap voting system with mail in.
Yeah. The phrase is.
And that might have been part of the reason that she didn't get into that Biden didn't step down till now. So she was still in that honeymoon phase when everybody started voting.
Okay.
You're not up on that screen yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just pulling it up. Anyway, so the first video that I want to play that's I think is gonna come into impact the election, especially in Georgia is this one right here.
Hispanic people so they can vote in upcoming elections. Are you already registered? We already voted. You already voted? Yes. Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered or?
Yeah.
Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered at work? Yes, we have. You've already been registered? Are you a citizen or not a citizen?
No es.
The apartment complex Elliott Norcross in Norcross, Georgia, is occupied primarily by non-citizens. We visited the complex to ask residents two questions. Are you a citizen, and are you registered to vote? Shockingly, 14% of respondents admitted to being non-citizens registered to vote.
Buenas, disculpe por molestar. Venimos con una organización que se dedica a registrar a la gente hispana para poder votar en las elecciones. ¿Ya la registraron a usted o?
Yeah.
Okay, so how relevant is this? 14%. How relevant?
That's huge. When you're thinking of how many illegals
and the margin in Georgia was 2%, and that's before Biden allowed in another 12 million illegal immigrants. Okay, so that's why when we flip back to, let's see, when we flip back to this map, now I'm worried about Georgia because they are getting registered to vote, and like Democrat officials are really good and bureaucrats are really good at avoiding scrutiny.
It still surprised me because Georgia has a strong conservative governor.
Yeah, but they had a strong conservative governor while putting two Democrats in the Senate. So anyway, so that makes that questionable. Okay. But so we're going to go to a little bit different map here where we can actually adjust it. Let's see here. I know there's a way to do this.
What are we trying to do?
Create your own map. Okay, so off of this, so we start with the no toss-up. So we already said this is probably going to be Democrat if she does indeed pick Shapiro.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Okay, so then if this illegal thing, and Georgia's not the only place it's happening. I'm willing to bet, like there was an article 6 months ago that thousands of illegal immigrants in Houston were registered to vote.
Yeah,
and that's in a conservative state. And as close as this is getting because of all the invaders from California that are coming over,
crazy.
Texas is getting more. Yeah, you know what? Texas needs to pass a law that you can't move here from a blue state. Period. Like, sorry, companies, you want to come here, come here, but you aren't bringing anybody from New York, from the Northeast or the West Coast or Illinois. Period. We don't need those people because they won't give up their politics to ruin the places that they came from.
Oh yeah, they're coming from these places. They're running from these places to get away from the crime and the dirt and everything. And they're coming here and doing the thing that costs.
So if they use the illegal aliens to tip the election in Georgia again, which it went for Biden, It went in the midterms.
Yeah.
Now what are we looking at? We scroll up to the top. Kamala Harris wins the election.
Yeah.
2 states. Kamala Harris wins the election.
Yeah.
So and that's why, like, no matter what funny business, like they prove they can get away with a ton of funny business in Fulton County, which is where Atlanta is. So, and if you guys are wondering what I mean by that, there are literally videos of ballot counters scanning the same stack of ballots of all Biden voters, just scanning them over and over and over again, like the same stack over and over again. That's thousands of extra votes for Biden. So, and then the map there, like the line's steadily increasing and then it spikes up. Of course, when that happens in Venezuela's election, Democrats are like, oh, it's fraud. But when it happens in their election, oh, it's legit.
Yeah, because they're the ones benefiting from the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what worries me, is it's not that far out of the realm that Harris could win as of right now. And a big part of the reason is because videos like this are not going to be out there. And I'm getting this. This is,
one where he gets on the plane.
yeah, this is from CB News.
There you go.
Toughest call on this one for other countries. I asked them to do some things that were against their immediate self-interest, and really very difficult for them to do, particularly Germany and Slovenia. Slovenia came in at the last minute, and I tell you what, the chancellor was incredible. He was incredible.
So what's your message to other countries that may think that the Americans into their custody, unlawfully detaining them, would be a good way to get something that they want from us?
Hey, look, that's been the case for all of history. My job is to make sure that, number one, they don't get them. And if they do, we get them back. I don't buy this idea that you're going to let these people rot in jail because other people may be captured. We will set out all the notifications to all the other countries, all our citizens, what countries not to go to, what to do, what not to do, and they got to pay attention. I got more work to do. So.
Hold on. I'm pretty sure he just said there that it's your fault if you get taken in one of these countries. Pretty sure that's what he just said.
This is an extraordinary day, and I'm very thankful for our president and what
Here's
he
Kamala
has
word salad.
done over his entire career, but in particular as it relates to these families and these individuals, what he has been able to do to bring the allies together on many issues, but in particular this one. This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day. You can see it in the families, in their eyes and in their cries.
A while ago. We got to make sure, we want to make sure everything was in place. And Slovenia made the right move at the right time. So anyway, look, it's time to trust. I mean it. I know everybody thinks I talk about the notion of relationships with foreign policy with other countries. Much of it, and you've heard me kid with Barack, all politics is personal. It matters. Other leaders trust you, you trust them, and you get things done. And that's how this got done. A lot of help. Anyway, thank you.
How worried are you?
I'm very concerned about it. I had a very direct meeting with Prime Minister today, and very direct. We have the basis for a ceasefire. He should move on it, and they should move on it now.
That chance for ceasefire really got.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing it there. We already know all about Biden's inability to conduct an interview and his, his inability to conduct an interview. Now, as we look at these polls that are coming in, like these two look pretty safe. But look at North Carolina. North Carolina could be in play too. Okay. So if we look at, oh, hold on. I always forget to do that part. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get better at like bringing in graphics for you guys. Okay. So if you look over here, we got North Carolina, Trump by 2. That's close. Like Harris, like if she's showing ahead in Wisconsin, even with everybody hating her because of the Biden administration's stance, they're not going to change. We got Trump +1, North Carolina. So that means North Carolina can be in play. So then we hit North Carolina, make it lean Democrat. And now it's getting more and more likely. Now she can afford to lose one of the other states and still win. Even if she can't pull up the coup in Georgia and it still goes Republican, she still wins the election.
Yeah.
So she's got a couple different paths to victory here. Okay. Now, there is a lot being said about, and I've got to find the video for the next time. I'm going to put it up just to reference back. But there is a history of how these polls are weighted incorrectly, and they always like swing one way or the other. But not always, but like 70% of the time. Okay. And in some of those you account for those weighting. When you accounted for that weighting, New Mexico goes Republican, North Carolina goes Republican, Pennsylvania goes Republican. And let's see, where's New Hampshire? New Hampshire goes Republican. Michigan goes Republican. And there was one other. What was the other one? I think that's it. I think that's it. And Maine was going Republican. Okay.
Maine. Wow, that would be incredible.
So if you because it's a lot. Well, I mean, Maine's right up there in the Northeast, but it's mostly rural.
True, it is.
Like
it's one state I've always wanted to go to, and I haven't.
Yeah. To. There's like what Bangor and Portland. Those are the only like cities that are Democrat. The whole rest of Maine is conservative. Okay. So this is what the election's looking at. It looks like a bloodbath for the Democrats, electorally speaking.
For the Democrats?
For the Democrats.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay. So, like, yeah, winning the Electoral College by over 100 points. Okay. And it could even be worse. The question is whether videos like that one of Kamala, it's the power of diplomacy, and the diplomacy has power. So the power of diplomacy.
Well, and honestly, with that prisoner swap, as much as I'm in favor of getting our people back, you can't. What did they give Russia in return?
An assassin.
So we're getting our people back, but we're giving them an assassin who will go back to work as soon as he's back in Russia after he relaxes.
They probably had to promise not to use them against them. So anyway, this is the way the electoral map could work if you wait for the average error in the polls. Okay, and then Minnesota is actually a big question mark too, especially if they do pick Shapiro.
Yeah,
then that could put Minnesota into play and make it 333 to 205. And I think Colorado had a shot also. Yeah, this was the map that I saw. So it was 343 to 195 if you take into account the margin of errors, and Minnesota slips out of her hand because she appoints a Jewish VP candidate. So this could be where we're looking at, but at the same time, we could flip the other way.
There's that chance.
It could be just as easily. We go to the no toss-ups, and then they flip Georgia. They cheat Georgia. They flip Pennsylvania because of their Jewish candidate. They knock down North Carolina, and then they managed to
pull out Michigan.
No, I think it was pulling out Michigan. Oh well, yeah, that's already on there.
Yeah, it's already.
There was one other. What was the other one that we were talking about? Oh yeah, sorry, we can never count the vote. We can never discount the voter fraud in the Phoenix area in Arizona, and then God, there was another one that was looking like they could railroad it. That might be it. So that, I mean, this could be the swing the other way, because we know they have a good, to quote Joe Biden, they have put together the greatest electoral fraud organization in the history of mankind.
He actually said that.
And those were his exact words.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so as it is, Maine has 2 electoral votes, and Maine 2 is always presumed to be Republican.
Yeah.
But even if they manage to flip that, it's 304. And I think they could flip Wisconsin, but it's going to be even harder. So they take Wisconsin, you're looking 314, 224. Yeah. That's kind of a landslide the other way. Yeah. And then that's going to kind of give a mandate.
But not impossible.
Yeah. So the generic ballot here.
Honestly, I'm always surprised Alaska's not in play. Not that it really matters much. There's not many electoral votes there. Just because Anchorage is so freaking liberal now, it just drives me insane.
So now you look at the general election, Trump versus Harris. This is like all across the country. Most of them show Trump up, right? Uh-huh. So the most recent one, post assassination attempt, post Harris becoming the candidate, one shows +4 Harris, one shows +5 Trump. Reuters shows +1 Harris. Harvard Harris shows +4 for Trump. Okay. The average, though, is right here. Trump 1.2. If Trump wins the wins the popular vote, Kamala Harris loses, period. Like, no Democrat has ever won the presidency without winning the popular vote.
Just funny because popular vote really doesn't matter. But...
Yeah. Well, I mean, it matters, and that you got to get the popular vote in the state to get the the electors. But so, what's the state of the election? Well, I'm worried about it, and the reason I'm worried about it is they're doing a great job identifying all the things that are being done to cheat, but I'm not hearing any plans to stop it at all.
I must say I'm not. I don't think I'm as worried as you, but I think it really depends on if Trump can get the message out there and how he does it, and if he does it quick enough.
But
that's the key: getting the message out and getting it out quick enough before all the votes start coming through.
Right, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The problem is low information voters are going to be swayed by woohoo, first black woman president.
Yeah.
That's what the low information voters are going to hear. And then they're, of course, already programmed to believe that Trump's a criminal and racist and a fascist. So
that really pulls more towards the far left.
Right, but I mean, no, actually, a lot of moderates think and believe everything.
Moderates a bit, but mostly, but far more towards the far left.
So anyway, right now things are looking good for Trump if they can keep an honest election going. We're gonna see what shakes out. I think Monday is when she's supposed to announce that Shapiro is her VP.
If she chooses Shapiro, which it looks like it's a good chance.
I bet you $5.
Like, I bet you $5.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Chance.
So when she picks Shapiro as her VP, we'll see in the week after that if it flips Pennsylvania. If it doesn't move the needle in Pennsylvania, which a lot of times that doesn't help.
Well, VP almost never has helped in the past.
Right, like I mean. When was the last time somebody
0%?
Yeah, when was the last time somebody like their VP wasn't already going to win? They weren't already going to win the state of the VP.
Took it? I don't remember.
Yeah, well, but it would. Yeah, but no. But what I mean is they won Alaska. They were going to win Alaska. That was never going to help. He just had a female VP candidate. Yeah, don't forget the Republican Party is the first party that had a VP ticket. And all they did was attack her. So as people are attacking Kamala Harris for the fact that she's an idiot, even dumber than Palin, and that's a big margin. Like Palin was a freaking idiot. Yeah, your mommy beer greens me. Yeah, that's not a good political message, dumbass.
I don't think Palin is that dumb. I think she's actually pretty intelligent.
Okay, but she put herself up as dumb. She looks dumb on all of her
Even though
reality
I'm not a big
shows.
supporter of Sarah Palin. I wasn't a big supporter of her when she was mayor of Wasilla, or the governor, but I do think she is a pretty intelligent woman.
Okay, well, she's an intelligent woman that was great at painting herself dumb. Anyway, so where we stand is it's really going to come down to, let's see what kind of bounce they get out of Shapiro. How well are they going to be able to hide Kamala? And are the Republicans going to figure out a way to keep the illegals out? So I would say everybody, whether you're Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever political part of the spectrum you fall on, your state representatives and state senators, whether they're red or blue, need to know that they need to pass the election integrity law, because if you're an American, you should not have your vote canceled out by an illegal immigrant. Period. Okay? Illegal immigrants, they don't have a right to be here and they don't have a right to vote in our elections. And yet, as you saw in the video, they're getting registered and they're getting ready to vote for the person who let them in.
But I keep hearing the left saying they're not illegal. They're here legally. They're not illegal.
Okay, that's neither here nor there. When it comes to the election, they need to figure out a way to keep them from voting.
Yeah.
And if something isn't actively done to keep them from voting, like
IDs.
you got a Republican legislature there, make it a law. If you are not a legal immigrant and you even attempt to vote in the election, you're going to prison for 30 years.
Yeah, which IDs won't help in California because they already give illegals IDs.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't matter. Georgia has a voter ID law.
Yeah.
And these people are already registered to vote.
Yeah.
Why? Because they give them a social security number so they can pay taxes when they come across the border and they process them. And then they use that social security number and they go and get a driver's license and they show them their social security number when they're asked for it, because they're not asked if it's a voter ID or an actual social security. And then the Democrat bureaucrat working for the DMV says, oh, you got your social security number, you're a citizen, and they register them to vote. That's how they're getting registered to vote. Okay? So unless you block ID for any illegals, you make it a 20-year prison sentence if you had a company that hires illegal immigrants, and throw in an extra 20 years for the HR manager, and HR will make sure that shit doesn't get through. Like, I guarantee it. But we need to start having harsh sentences for the things that make it easy for illegals to be here. And also anybody who allows an illegal immigrant to get any public benefit. Like when I worked in retail, I saw it all the time. People paid, their food stamp balances are in the thousands, and these are people that brag about being illegal immigrants. So,
well, how about that one that's going around the X and the other ones where they had the receipt, and on top they showed it was
$13,000
food balance and $5,000 in cash.
Yeah, that came out of hardworking Americans' pockets that are having problems paying their bills on their own, thanks to the Harris-Biden inflation.
I always question how true that is, but it was something that was posted and did show. If it wasn't edited, it's shocking and it's insane. Yeah,
make no mistake, okay? The inflation is going to continue because all of the policies that led to the huge inflation spiral, Kamala Harris 100% supports, keeps speaking for, and wants to do more of. So, any final thoughts?
We just need to get this freaking illegal voting under control. It shouldn't even be a thing. It shouldn't even be a question. Illegals are here illegally. They should not be allowed to decide on our leadership and who's in office. It just gotta get it under control. Gotta make sure we're keeping the poll watchers in there. I'm glad Elon has dumped all that money into to hire all these people to watch the poll stations.
Yeah, but if they watch them vote, it's not going to matter. Once the votes are in,
oh, I know,
they can't separate them out.
But it's a start. It's just we've got to figure out how the mail-in ballot. As long as we're doing this mail-in ballot where most people are mailing in their votes, it's gonna be extremely hard to control it.
Yep. And more practical, go volunteer to be a poll watcher. Make sure you go and vote. The minute voting is allowed in your state, go vote. Round up everybody you know, get them to vote. Vote for Trump, Vance, because they're the only ones that are trying to save the country. The other ones want to finish destroying it.
And don't, as much as I hate mail-in voting, that's what we have right now. As soon as you're able to vote, do it. Don't wait till the booths are open on election day. You need to get in there. You need to vote. You need to get it in there.
And if you're not registered, get registered now.
Amen.
Get registered now.
See if you can help your neighbor. If
Don't
it's an elderly
put it
person.
off. Don't put it off. Yeah, and hey, you know what? Go volunteer at a nursing home to help people get registered and get their votes in, because I tell you what, that's where a lot of those Democrat votes come from. I do have a source that worked in nursing homes, and these people would come in, go into the rooms alone with them because the people have privacy while they're voting, and then come out with an all Democrat ticket and go and turn that into vote.
And do it legally. Don't cheat.
So make sure they understand. Don't just tell them, hey, there's an evil guy running for president. Do you want the good guy? Okay, that's this one.
Well, and it's like I told my wife, this will be her first presidential election, and I told her, don't vote for Trump because that's who I support. I want you to do your research and figure out who you want to support. Don't vote for him just because I'm voting for him.
Yeah,
and she made it clear that she doesn't care who I'm voting for. She's voting for Trump because she's not Chinese anymore. She is an American, and Trump is what's good for America.
Okay.
She made that extremely clear.
And Bettina, I assume, because she laughs at Kamala Harris as much as I do, and she thinks she's an idiot, and she tends to laugh at the Democrats, but I don't know if that's for my benefit. I doubt it. I think she's pretty honest with me, but she doesn't vote. And I told her she needs to register and she needs to vote.
Well,
and I don't care who she votes for, but she needs to vote. The number of people that don't vote in this country that support real intelligent policies would flip every election Republican to the end of time if they actually registered to vote and go to the polls. But they sit there and say, oh, my vote doesn't matter. No, maybe your vote individually doesn't matter, but if 100,000, 1 million people like you go out and register to vote and vote for the candidate who's actually fighting for you, it will make a difference. And that's the argument that has to be made for people that are on the fence or people that don't vote.
Well, you know what's interesting with my wife is, she is Chinese and she's extremely proud of being Chinese. She loves her Chinese culture, but she'll tell you straight out what's best for China is Biden or Kamala. They will be what's best for China. But she is in America now, she says, and she wants what's best for her country now, America. So that's why she's voting for Trump and not Biden, because she's not voting for China. She's voting for us, for her home here in the U.S.
Exactly. And on that, we're going to call it a day. Thanks for joining us, as always, here at Off the Rails, Right versus Left. It is the podcast that we do because the left is evil. Make sure if you're watching us on YouTube that you follow Robbie or RB Coca-Cola on X, or follow Off the Rails, Right versus Left on Rumble, because they're completely uncensored. So a lot of times I end up having to go back and edit the videos from the streams after the stream's done on those other platforms because they're all up in censoring my business. So,
and don't forget warmongershop.store.
Yeah, we got some great merch in there, including check this out.
Well, we need to we need to do some adjusting and get some stuff up.
Here we go. So here's a basketball jersey. Here's a t-shirt. Yeah, impeached and arrested, convicted, shot, still standing.
Yeah.
USA, USA, USA.
USA.